Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're doing something a little different.
Yeah, we are.
We're diving headfirst into the career of one Terry Williams.
Right.
Now we've got their resume in front of us. And let me tell you, this is not your average resume. This is going to be fun.
It would be good.
This is our chance to really, figure out the story behind all these bullet points.
Exactly.
Go from just, a list of jobs to, a real understanding of, Terry's journey and what got them to where they are today.
I love this. It's like we're like career detectives, you know?
Yeah.
We got our magnifying glasses out. We're going to look for those clues
Exactly.
to really piece together, like you said, the bigger picture
Yeah.
of who Terry is professionally.
All right, so let's start digging in. Right off the bat,
Okay.
the first thing that I noticed is that Terry's been with the U.S. Air Force since 2002.
Wow.
That's over 2 decades with a single organization.
That's amazing.
Which, I gotta be honest,
Yeah.
that is basically unheard of these days.
Yeah. I know, especially in this day and age.
Right.
Yeah.
People are, switching jobs every couple of years, and
Job hopping is like the new normal.
that's the new normal. Exactly.
Mm.
But this shows a real commitment,
Yeah.
real work ethic.
Oh, yeah. Especially, think about it. In a field like technology
Yeah.
within the Air Force,
It's constant change.
constant change, innovation.
Right. You gotta keep
We gotta
up.
be on top of it every single day.
Exactly.
That is seriously impressive.
Okay, so not only that, but they didn't just stay stagnant, right? They didn't just stay in one position.
Right. They didn't just warm a seat
Exactly.
for 20 years.
So Terry starts as a network infrastructure technician,
Oh, okay.
which I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty intense on its own.
Yeah, that's not an entry-level position.
No.
No.
And then they climb the ranks all the way to senior program manager.
Now, that's a trajectory. That speaks volumes. That tells me this is someone who's not afraid of hard work.
Yeah.
Someone who actively looks for those opportunities to learn, to grow,
Right.
and clearly knows how to navigate a large, complex organization like the Air Force
Absolutely.
to rise within those ranks.
Oh,
Impressive.
So let's talk about this bullet point, because this one, I don't know about you, but this one practically jumped off the page at me.
Okay.
Streamlined cybersecurity for a $34.7 billion DoD weapon system.
Whoa.
First of all, whoa.
That's a mouthful.
Right.
Yeah.
And second of all, what does that even look like in real-world terms?
Yeah.
That's not resetting a password.
No, that is not your everyday IT troubleshooting
Okay.
situation. You are so right.
Right.
When I see that tells me a couple things. But first and foremost, the level of responsibility
Oh, yeah?
that Terry has handled. We are talking about securing a highly complex, incredibly valuable asset with massive implications.
This is some serious stuff.
Serious stuff. This isn't just about, oh no, we don't want our data leaked or anything. This is about protecting our nation's most critical defense systems.
Yeah, you realize the weight of that when you read something like that.
Absolutely.
This is big.
This is big, and it also tells me that Terry has a deep understanding of cybersecurity threats.
Oh, yeah.
The ability to actually implement protocols that are effective.
Right.
And probably a knack for staying calm under pressure.
Yeah, because you can't be freaking out.
No.
No.
Not with a $34.7 billion weapons system.
Right.
You got to be cool, calm, and collected under pressure.
Okay, speaking of pressure, how about this one? Supervised 81 personnel across 4 continents for the JSTARS program.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so for those who don't know, and I'll admit I had to look it up, JSTARS is a sophisticated surveillance aircraft system.
Okay.
But even without knowing all the specifics, 81 personnel
Yeah.
across 4 continents.
That's international.
That screams to me logistical mastermind.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is not just logistics, though. This is leadership on a global scale. Think about the challenges
I can't even imagine.
of managing a team that's geographically dispersed like that, especially in a military context.
And in the Air Force, there's protocols and there's
Absolutely. There's a chain of command.
you gotta be on top of it.
You got to be organized, an effective communicator.
Right.
You're dealing with different time zones, cultural nuances,
Right.
that constant need to make sure that communication is clear.
Oh, absolutely.
And everyone's coordinated.
So this just highlights even more,
Yeah.
right? Terry's ability to build relationships.
Yes.
To foster teamwork, to get things done.
To get things done when everybody can't be in the same room.
Right.
Or even on the same continent.
Yeah, exactly.
Super impressive.
Okay, next up, we've got a detail that always catches my eye on resumes.
Okay, what is it?
top secret clearance.
Ooh, very nice.
Now, that's not something you just get from filling out a form online and hoping for the best.
No, not at all.
Right.
No, not at all. No, getting top secret clearance, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
We're talking like extensive background checks,
Oh, yeah.
psychological evaluations,
Oh.
the works. It's a really rigorous process, and to get it, I mean, that signifies a high level of trust from the government.
Yeah.
And it really speaks volumes about, Terry's character.
Right, like their discretion.
Absolutely. Like, you're not going to get top secret clearance if if you can't be trusted
Right.
to
Yeah.
keep things under wraps.
Yeah, exactly.
So that right there, that tells us that Terry's handled sensitive information
Oh, yeah.
and that they've been entrusted with, protecting national security.
Like, when I see top secret clearance on a resume,
Mm-hmm.
I immediately think, okay, what were they working on?
Right. What exactly were they doing?
Yeah, because it's not going to be, public knowledge.
No, we're not talking about open source projects here.
Right.
We're talking about access to highly classified data,
Yeah.
strategic intelligence, the stuff that most people...
You see in the movies.
Yes. The stuff that most people will never even catch a glimpse of.
Right. And not only that, but to be entrusted with that information
Yes.
and knowing that you are responsible for that.
Huge responsibility.
And then on top of it all, to be able to still make tough decisions.
Yes, you can't get in your head about it.
Right.
You have to be able to compartmentalize, make those tough calls.
Exactly.
Knowing that you have that level of clearance, that you're dealing with such sensitive information.
So it really takes a certain type of person
Absolutely.
to be able to handle all that.
It really does.
Okay, so moving on, before we get too caught up in spy movies and stuff.
Right.
Let's move on to a section that at first glance might seem a little dry, but I promise it's not as bad as it looks. Certifications.
Ah, yes, the certification.
So, at first you might just be like, oh, okay, they got some letters after their name.
Right.
But these aren't just pieces of paper, right?
Oh, absolutely not. These are a testament to Terry's dedication
Okay.
to staying ahead of the curve, because we're talking about a field, technology,
He's constantly changing.
constantly evolving. What's relevant today might be obsolete tomorrow.
Exactly.
So you gotta keep learning. You gotta stay sharp.
So it's like saying, hey, I know that this is always changing, but I'm right there with it. I'm learning. I'm growing.
Yes. It's like I'm investing in myself. I'm investing in my career. And that tells a potential employer a lot about your work ethic.
It's almost like career insurance in a way.
It is. It's like a safety net.
Right.
Because it's proof that your skills are relevant, that you're valuable.
No matter how much things change.
Exactly. So, we're talking PMP, that's Project Management Professional.
Right.
We got Security Plus, Microsoft Certified, Cisco Certified. I mean, the list goes on and on.
It does, yeah.
And these aren't easy to get.
No.
These are difficult. They require time. They require energy. They require brain power.
Oh, absolutely.
To study, to prepare for these exams. So when I see a resume like this that's chock full of certifications,
Impressive.
it's incredibly impressive. It tells me that this person is serious.
Yeah.
About their career. They're serious about their professional development.
So we've got decades of experience in a high-pressure, high-stakes field, managing these multi-million-dollar projects.
Millions, billions even.
Right. Securing these critical assets.
Right.
Leading teams across continents.
Globally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, a commitment to continuous learning.
Yes. That's key.
That's huge.
Huge, and it's evident. You can just see it in all those certifications. So
Right.
it's a pretty remarkable combination of skills and experience. And really, when you take a step back and you look at this resume, not just at those individual bullet points,
Yeah.
but you look at it holistically, you really start to see this pattern emerge, almost like a story arc that reveals so much about Terry's strengths, their values.
Okay, so what is that story arc telling us then?
Well, I think that's telling us that we've got someone here who not only thrives in these really complex, demanding environments,
Right.
but who is also driven by a deep sense of duty
Right.
and a desire to make a real impact.
Yeah.
This isn't someone who's content just, punching the clock 9 to 5.
Right, they're not just going through the motions.
No, this is someone who seeks out challenges
Yeah.
and then rises to the occasion. They see a problem, they find a solution.
It's almost like they're wired for it, right?
It's like they're hardwired for these high-pressure situations.
Like the more responsibility, the higher the stakes, the more they seem to thrive.
They excel in those environments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really incredible, and it takes a lot to be able to do that and to do it well.
Oh, absolutely. And that brings up another point: resilience, adaptability, problem-solving skills.
You got to have all of that.
You got to have it. You can't just crumble under pressure.
Right. You can't just fall apart when things get tough.
Exactly. And it seems like Terry's honed these skills over 2 decades of navigating all the complexities of the Air Force.
Yeah, and you made a good point earlier. It's not just about being tough.
Right.
It's also about leadership.
Absolutely.
Right. And
we talked about those 81 personnel spread across 4 continents.
Like that takes a special kind of leader.
The very special leader, someone who can inspire trust, build those relationships from a distance, create a sense of shared purpose,
When you're not even there, like you can't just pop in and give a quick pep talk.
You can't just, walk down the hall and chat with your team. It's virtual leadership.
Right.
At its finest.
And then let's not forget that this is all within the context of the U.S. Air Force.
A very specific, very demanding context.
Right. So it's not just a job.
No.
It's meek than that. It's a calling.
It is a calling. It's a service. It's a commitment to something larger than yourself.
Right. And I think you can really see that sense of purpose shining through on this resume.
Yes, it's subtle, but it's there.
It really is.
It's in the details, it's in the longevity, it's in those achievements.
So far what we've got is, deep understanding of technology.
Check.
A knack for leading and inspiring others. A commitment to excellence that clearly goes above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
And that strong sense of duty that you were saying.
So all there on the page.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty powerful combination.
That's an incredible combination.
It is.
And you know what it really underscores for me?
What's that?
That a resume is so much more than just like a list of jobs and dates and titles.
It tells a story.
It's a story. It's a window into a person's professional life, their values, what they're looking for in a career.
Absolutely. And I think with Terry, what we're seeing is a blueprint for success.
I agree.
That's built on hard work, dedication, and that constant desire to learn and to grow.
It's amazing, right? We went from this standard document to this whole story of Terry's career.
It's like we cracked the code.
Yeah.
To their career DNA.
It's like we really got to see the inner workings of how they got to where they are.
And it just goes to show you the power of this approach.
Absolutely.
And anyone can skim a resume.
Right.
But to really understand, to connect the dots, to see the experiences in relation to each other.
It paints a much clearer picture.
A much richer picture.
Yeah, exactly. Of not just what someone's done, but how they've grown.
Yeah, it's like the difference between reading a list of ingredients and then actually tasting the finished dish.
100%.
So I have a feeling after this deep dive, you're probably ready to go out there and uncover the hidden stories.
Oh, absolutely.
In other resumes, right?
My detective hat is officially on.
So what's the one thing that you would tell our listeners?
Oh, that's a good question.
To keep in mind.
Don't just skim the surface.
Okay.
Really, really treat every resume like that treasure map.
I love that.
Look for those clues, because they're there.
Yeah.
Not just the skills, not just the experience, but the values.
Right.
The work ethic.
The potential.
Yes. The potential.
Okay, so look for the patterns, look for those connections.
Yes, connect those dots, people.
Don't be afraid to read between the lines a little bit.
Exactly.
And remember that behind every bullet point is a real person.
A human being with their own story to tell.
Exactly. And I think if you can keep that in mind, it makes it much more interesting.
Oh, for sure. And you're going to get so much more out of that resume, out of that interaction.
Absolutely. And that is the power of a deep dive.
There it is.
We went from a list of bullet points to a deep understanding
of it.
Of Terry Williams' career and really just all the things that that they've accomplished.
It's inspiring, honestly.
It is inspiring, and hopefully it inspires our listeners to kind of look at things a little differently.
To dig a little deeper.
Exactly, and ask those questions.
Yes.
And really, really try to understand the story.
Because everyone has a story.
Everyone does have a story, and that's what makes it so fascinating.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the career of Terry Williams.
This was awesome.
We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.